We have sound now? Do we have sound? Let me know if you can hear me, guys, because it's saying we can now. Hello, Raina. Do you guys have sound? Oh, perfect. Okay, good. All right. Sorry about that, guys. All right. Hey, Triple G. Hey, Vera. Let me put this here so I don't have to look down too much. Hello, Miss Sophie. How are you? Oh, my chat is showing up. Alrighty. All right, guys. I'm going to do one more thing so I can actually see the chat. We're going to make live changes. I'm going to put this over here. And we're going to make another live change. Bring this down. All right. Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Alrighty, guys. All right, let's get going here. Sorry about that. Little couple technical difficulties. But we're here. All right. So this is part 2, the 3-part series on this whole surviving R. Kelly, right? So yesterday, if you didn't get a chance to be with us yesterday, the video is still up. We talked a lot yesterday about the whys, right? Why we end up into these relationships. And we talked and really determined, of course, that it is unhealed wounds within us. So that get us into these situations. So tonight, what I want to discuss with you is the ties that bind. Because truly, in a toxic relationship, in a narcissistic relationship, in a, the narcissist empath, the healer and the injured, whatever type of these codependent type relationships, what happens is that the two people come and they come together because there's something in each of them that's serving the other. And you end up with these intertwined codependent ties. And I want to talk about those various ties, and I want you guys to feel free to also share in the chat about them. The first tie we'll talk about tonight is the tie between, especially when we have an empath and a narcissist. So I'm going to talk about that one. The empathic healer needs to heal, right? And then the narcissist needs to always get this good supply. So you have a narcissist, and even this came out yesterday or during the series. And if you haven't watched it, please do. Do whatever you need to do to be able to watch it. What came out is that R. Kelly, he has two other brothers. Oh goodness, I better get my, here. I did not have, this is poorly written, my allegedly. Allegedly, all 3 brothers have said that all 3 of them were molested as children. So we have a situation again, right, where we have a narcissist, someone, and this is like narcissist beyond narcissist, where it's a deep situation of abuse, horrible abuse going on. And then this person then becomes this individual that says, I'm unlovable, right? The narcissist typically says, I'm unlovable. I'm not worthy. I'm all of these things because they're being injured so terribly that they begin to, and you see this a lot, especially with sexual molestation cases where, or even sexual abuse, rape victims and things, they'll say, I just went outside myself. I just went outside myself. I was not here. I was not present. So the narcissist then begins to build up this false persona that they determine is lovable. Okay. And this false persona protects them protects that little boy, in some cases that little girl, protects this person, and to the point where they build up this false facade that's a shell, because their heart has been injured so terribly that they have to build up this shell. And that shell of a person then is this person they put out that's powerful, right? They're not able to be abused. They're not able to be hurt. They don't love, right? They don't do any of this. And they actually some of them become predatory. Now, not all abuse victims become narcissists, of course. Not all. Not all children that have been sexually molested or any other way all become narcissists. Not all of them become sociopaths. And that's a very specific psychological diagnosis. So I use that term sparingly because I'm not a psychiatrist. Okay. But these people, not everybody that experiences this become a narcissist. In some cases, this is what happens. In some cases it happens. So this narcissist develops then, but the person on the inside is empty because they've had to totally divest themselves of any emotion, any compassion, because no compassion was shown to them. Nobody believed them. Nobody came to their aid. None of this. And so since no compassion or love was shown to them, they just become this person that is void of all of that. And go through life like that. So here you have this individual. Sorry, I got to grab a blanket. Here you have this individual that has become this shell, this empty, empty, empty shell. And then enter the empath, right? So a lot of us growing up empathic, in our familial situation, we were always the healer. We were always the mediator. We always made sure that a lot of us have grown up in abusive households as well, in some shape or form. So we become the healer. This is the position that we were put in as children. Mommy or daddy, would be the abusive one in the house, sometimes both. And just to keep the peace, we made sure that everybody did everything perfect, that everybody did everything right. In order for the household to be calm. We had to. But we're natural healers. So when we come into the realm of the narcissist, here we see this individual that's so broken. And they truly are. They're so broken, and we're like, we can fix them. They tell us how people have used them. They tell us how people have left them. They tell us how people have been horrible to them. And unfortunately, when we come into this symbiotic relationship with them, we ourselves are unhealed because it's easier for us to look outside ourselves and heal someone else than it is for us to do our own work. Also, because our own work, this is something else that I think that people don't necessarily realize. And you have to heal yourself, but thank God we can. Yes, we can. The other thing that happens, though, this is the very interesting thing that happens, is because growing up, our needs were always second to the tumult that was going on. Always second to the tumult that was happening. We never really, we took on everybody else's pain. We took on everybody else's issues. We took on the responsibility of making sure that everything was just right so that the household wouldn't erupt. Our needs, our wants, our desires, our unhealed trauma, all of that was never dealt with. And we were taught to not deal with it. We were taught that our stuff wasn't important. What was important is that everybody else's stuff was taken care of. So it's not just that we don't necessarily want to, it's also that we don't even know how to actually heal ourselves. Because we've never had to, we've never been allowed to do such. Never been allowed to do it. So because of that, I need to put this on flipping do not disturb. Because of that, we enter in with this, this is like the project extraordinaire, right? For a healer, the narcissist is the ultimate, the coup de grace, okay, of injured soul. I mean the ultimate. Here's somebody that absolutely needs us, absolutely needs us. And we're like, we can fix him. Now, I'm talking about this in relationship when I'm talking about an adult. Now, I'm not talking about these girls, okay, that are got involved with him. I'm talking about as an adult, when we can make an adult decision. I would be interested at some point in knowing if perhaps the households maybe were not necessarily abusive, but this can also happen in a non-abusive household with an empath where our needs aren't addressed. We don't have a voice. All of that. So it's not just as a result of a bad dysfunctional situation. So I want to put that out there too, because it can happen even if you grow up and it's fabulous. So you get these two people together. So the tie that binds is the narcissist says this is grade A supply. Absolute grade A supply. Okay, thank you, Heather. And the empath is like, this is an amazing project. I mean, this is a college level, PhD level dissertation project, man. I can really help this person. This person really needs me. And that's what we want. Let's be real. That's what we want. We want to be needed. We want to be wanted. We want to be the healer. We want to be the giver, because that's how we have been. That's what we have been created. And that's what we have always done. Yes, spiritual healers, as they grow in knowledge and wisdom, learn to separate life as human and spiritual. Yes. And we'll get into that a little bit more tomorrow, but you're exactly right. We talk about how to heal from all this, how to get out of it. It is very much a double-edged sword. So that's one huge tie that binds us together. And then some of the other ties come in that are kind of secondary to that. So you have an abuser and I'll use the word victim, because in essence, that's what you are in that situation. An abuser and a victim. And especially when it's this much control, as in the case with R. Kelly. And some of us can say in our own lives, I talked about that last night. No, you're fine, dear. When you are in, and if you've never been in this situation, it's very difficult to understand sometimes, because a lot of people will say, well, why don't they just leave? Especially when there's physical abuse. Well, why don't you just leave? But you get brainwashed to the point. See, you're giving. They're that vampire. They're, you know, if you look at the vampire and vampire stories, right? The one partner that the vampire would choose before they turned them, they would go and feed on them, but just to the point of death. I don't know if any of you have ever read The Vampire Chronicles by Anne Rice. The Vampire Lestat. I think there's 5 or 6 books. It's a very interesting read. Because it wasn't glorifying vampires, nor was it, I mean, it was, you know what I'm saying? So Lestat would have these folks that he would feed on, and he was beautiful, right? This beautiful man, and women flocked to him. And he had certain ones that he fed on, but he wouldn't kill them. And he even was sorrowful, actually, once there's one of them in particular that he turned. I can't remember her. He turned her as a child, I think. Or someone else turned her as a child. And there was a couple others that went through life with him. Louis was one, the male lover, if you will. He would feed on Louis, and then one day Louis got turned. He turned Louis because he wanted to spend eternity with Louis. So he would feed and let him live, feed and let him live, feed and let him live. And that's what the narcissist does, right? He comes in, he loves on us, the love bomb and all that good stuff, right? The love bombing. And, sorry, I'm just catching up. The love bombing, and then what starts is the tearing down. And it's very insidious. It's kind of like boiling a frog, right? 1 degree at a time. It'll start just a little bit. Oh, you didn't, in my case, I really didn't like the way that was cooked. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'll do better next time. Because you want to please them. Or for me, when it started out, it was, you know, I think I told you the story last night. The first time I went somewhere with a girlfriend. Or I can remember the first time I went shopping, because Lord knows I love to shop. So I went shopping one day, you know, just doing your grocery shopping, and then I'm going to go to Shopko and get some stuff for the house, and, you know, all this stuff. And I was going for 3-4 hours, honey. 3 or 4 hours just out shopping. I did all my shopping so I could come home and just do whatever. It was a Saturday. And by the time I got home, he was so upset with me. And I got home and he was like, where have you been? You know, you've been gone for how many hours? I'm like, I got a bunch of stuff in the car. I mean, you know, you want to come help me take it out? And I'm not helping you do anything. You've been gone for 4 hours. You must have gone to go see your other man that you have. I know that you're still dating other people. Look, by this time, the man had practically moved into my house. And come to find out, really what he was mad about, y'all? Because I have a lot of friends, you know. I'm not friends with everybody that comes on here on Facebook. My personal Facebook. But I have a lot of friends, and I've always had a lot of male friends. I was not dating them. But at that time, I had those of us that have a little extra melanin in our skin will resonate with the crochet braids. Honey, I had some big Shaka Khan crochet braids. It was cute. And one of my male friends who we used to joke around, you know, I mean, We never did anything, but we would just joke around about certain things, you know. And he had made a comment on my picture that I had taken about, ooh, I need to come over so I could pull that hair. Honey. I mean, it was an argument. And we had only been dating about 4 or 6 weeks. He was spending a lot of weekends at the house by this point. Almost moved in. You want to talk about, you're so disrespectful. You're da-da-da-da-da. I can't believe you let these men disrespect you like that. Blah, 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 blah. I don't want to be on your Facebook and seeing that. This is 6 weeks into the relationship. I ended up on Facebook messaging all my male friends, and especially that one, and said, you can't say that. I'm in a relationship. You know, he finds it disrespectful, this, that, and the third. And that was the first time. I know. You know what's funny, guys, is I'm realizing as I'm telling this story, you see how it's even still a little bit like affecting me because I'm like doing this all the time. See this, I'm not gonna sugarcoat, and I'm not gonna pretend that I am something different than what I am. What you get with me, what you see is what you get. I'm being honest. And I'm noticing it, right? So now I can sit, and I know this is gonna be part 3, but I can sit in that now. And I'm literally internally telling myself, I'm not in that situation anymore. I don't need to be nervous. I don't need to be self-conscious. It's a memory, and it's just a memory, and I'm going to pass by it. I'm going to look at it, look through it, and go past it. Now, so I did that. That was the first start of all this cutting you off. That's another thing that happens. They cut you off from everybody else. So now this tie, it's getting more entwined and more entwined, right? They start cutting you off. They dictate what you're wearing. In some cases, they'll make little comments. They'll dictate who you go see. I told you I couldn't go out with any of my girlfriends by myself. And the man never hit me. The man never laid a hand on me. This was all up here. The control is all up here. When you have a physically abusive person, it's then the control is even worse. Because they've already started controlling your mind. And then what happens is, if they're the physical abuser, then they start controlling everything else. Then they start beating you or hitting you. It might start out with a slap. Then it graduates to a punch. Then it graduates to choking. Then it graduates, you know what I'm saying? It's a slow thing. But then you really do become basically an abused child. Now, if, who you can speak to, when you see your family, yes. When it's very sincere, very severe, that's when it becomes all of that. Yes, the narcissist does have low self-esteem issues. I need to try to catch up with some of these. So you become tied and intertwined there. Your life is no longer your life. Your life is all about them. Right? Not be right, because yes. Nah, Miss Raina, probably some of those things. I'm just kidding. But my dad was like that too. You know, my dad, up until oh my goodness, till I left home. Most people's dads were not into buying them their clothes. My dad loved to shop. And he really did, excuse me, have an eye for fashion, right? That's what I chalked it up to. But my dad bought all my clothes. All my clothes. Jeanette, I saw you made a comment somewhere up here. I'm trying to find it. When it comes to leaving. Yes, so we do not feel that we're capable of doing it on our own. Because that is an interesting. Hello, Miss Townsend. Hello, Miss Davis. Hello, Miss Torrey. Interestingly enough, remember I told you yesterday I was the breadwinner. I brought in more money than him. I was the breadwinner. And yet this man had me at a point where it was like, well, you're not going to be able to make it without me. Really? You know, I was fine without you before you walked in the door, baby. I do want to say this before I go any further. If you are in a situation where you are being physically abused, please find a shelter. There's women's domestic violence assistance and support everywhere. If you don't know where to go or who to contact, please email me and tell me where you're located so I can help you find help to get out. Please do not put yourself or your children in danger any longer. Because let me tell you something, you can. You can do it on your own. You can. You can raise those kids on your own. If there's children, you can make it. Oh, thank you, Miss Sophie. Yes, if you are overseas, if you are in London, I imagine Miss Sophie can help even if you're not in London proper. I will get you guys in contact if you're overseas. So please, though, do. Because you don't have to. You don't have to stay. But the physical reinforcement of the mental torture is a very tight tie. You know, that's right. You can't stay in hermit mode very long. You can't. But that's exactly what they put you in. They put you in this closed off situation where you don't feel like you have anybody that you can talk to. You don't feel like you have anybody that you can turn to. And especially if they're like a narcissist or a sociopath, the internal smear campaign that it goes on all the time, then they'll say, well, I'll just let everybody know that this is who you really are. I'll just tell everybody, they don't really know you like I know you. I know you're this, and I know you're that, and I know you're this. He's just stay home and keep the peace. Friends trying to get me to go out and visit. Right. Well, see, Jeanette, you're in that situation where you don't want to hear the mouth. Good evening, Steph. You don't want to hear the mouth. I get it. You don't want to hear it. And it's easier to make the excuses. It's easier. So this is the other thing that happens, guys, as we go through this. Raina, you said that you wish your mom had left your dad more than a couple of times. Yep. Yeah, my mom, I'm going to tell you something. Growing up, Miss Denise, which I miss my mom. I'm going to have to bring her on live to, you know. Um, my mama left probably 6 or 7 times at least. There was one night where she literally ran out. It was the dead of winter. And she literally ran out of the house, no shoes on, no coat. Got to a neighbor's house, called one of my aunts. They came and picked her up. Dad had her, once he figured out where she was, with whichever aunt it was, would literally have us on the phone begging her to come back. And we were kids, so I couldn't tell her then. Like, secretly, I was like, just stay away. Because I knew she would just stay away, that my aunts and my uncle would come get us. Like, I knew that as a child. But it's hard. And I get why it's hard. And it is not weak women. I'm going to tell you something. I looked at my mother as a weak woman until I had my own narcissistic experience. And then I understood. I'm living proof that it's not weak women. I'm living proof of that. Living proof. So, getting back to these ties, right? So now we're completely entangled. Completely entangled. What happens, I'm going to go back to the vampire analogy. What happens, guys, is that vampire can only feed and let you feed and let you build your blood back up. Feed and let you build your blood back up. Feed and let your build your blood back up. And Brandon, my dad, did the same thing. And he would tell my mom that she'd never see us again. Until at one point it goes too far and there's no more build back up. And then you basically turn into a vampire, right? And not in the case that you are, you just came home from the hospital, Miss Davis. Oh, no. You get to a point where, you're not yourself feeding on others, right? You might inadvertently end up feeding on others, and we'll talk about that in a second. But you get to a point where the narcissist depleted you so much, and they don't do enough love bombing, because, right, that's the cycle. We love bomb, then we tear down, then we rip apart, and then when you're in this state, then they finally come back and say, I'm so sorry. I love you. I hate hurting you. I didn't mean to do that. You're such a wonderful person. And then there's, there might be flowers, or there might be this, or mine would make dinner, and mine would do all these things. But there comes a point where the love bombing is so far apart and you're so torn down that they end up, quote unquote, turning you, where you just simply don't have anything left to give. And when that happens, then they have to find other sources. They're already probably having other sources of supply anyway. And when I say narcissistic supply, what I'm talking about, what experts talk about and refer as narcissistic supply, is the adoration and the love and the, you know what I'm saying? Like all of this. They look for other people that are going to build them up. They always have one main supply. Always one main grade A supply. But they need multiple people to feed on. So some narcissists are somatic narcissists, and we can get tied up with it. Let me tell you something. I think a lot of people that end up being side chicks end up being that way because this narcissist has a lot of them, I'm not saying everybody, because the narcissist has said to them, I'm not happy at home, my wife is this, my wife is that, my girlfriend is this, my girlfriend is that, and she's this horrible person. And they, of course, because they're going to be the victim to whomever it is. For somebody to be so powerful, they're always the darn victim. Right? On the one hand, I'm all powerful to you, and on the other hand, I'm just this weak person. And so they end up with all these different other people running around. And so now all of a sudden you entangled in everybody's stuff. You got these side chicks that are coming in and saying, you know, it's so terrible. Oh my God, I can't believe that she's treating you like this. All the while you going through hell at home. It's, you know, these are the ties. So now all of a sudden you got all these other people entwined into this toxic relationship. So then they can go get supplies somewhere else and basically come be mean to you. Because they've got their love and adoration from somewhere else. They've got their validation from somewhere else. Remember, just like the vampire cannot generate his own or her own blood in order to live. That's why their own life source. Because in the blood in the body is the life source. If you don't have blood running to tissue, what happens? If circulation is cut off to a specific area of your body, what happens? That area of flesh dies. So it is in the spirit realm. In the energetic within yourself. If you don't have enough love within yourself, you die. That's why I say all the time, it's so important that we love ourselves and become self-partnered. Because when you continually look outside yourself for love, and continually look outside yourself for validation, and continually look outside yourself in somebody else to make you complete and to build you up, you die on the inside. So this narcissist continually needs this love, this energy force that we freely give as empaths. Because we want to heal. It's what we were created to do. So we give it and we give it and we give it and we give it. Because they need it. And at some point we're just used to giving. And we no longer have enough strength to say, I can't anymore. What we are seeking all the time is to get that person back that we fell in love with. I believe Andrea Kelly said that. She just wanted the man back that she fell in love with. Those young girls just wanted that man back that showed them attention and love and said, I'm going to make you a star. We want the person we fell in love with back, but and that we believed loved us, and they didn't. Because they did not have the capacity to love. Because they had no love to give, because they themselves had been emptied, because they themselves had been hurt, and their reaction to it, their way of coping with it, was to take from others. They don't know any other way. That is the only way they can survive. So when that narcissist goes and feeds somewhere else, then the love bombing with us becomes less and less. And we're still on this hamster wheel, still trying to please, still trying to get, if I could only, if I could only, if I could only. then maybe the abuse would stop. If I could only, then he'll love me again. Like he used to. And if we don't stop looking for validation outside ourselves, we will sabotage the relationships that we have if we get out. Or we will continue the cycle even if we do get out and end up picking someone else the same way. Yeah, that is something that happens, honey. That it's you. The family says it's you because the family has sometimes the family does it, sometimes the family doesn't. But the family, a lot of times, especially the mamas, will say, "Well, that girl, she didn't love you, honey. She in the wrong. She doing you wrong." Because don't forget now, they running around here telling everybody that you are the worst person in the world. That you are the most horrible individual in the world. Especially if you leave him. Honey, the mamas, I'm going to tell you something. The mamas, we do need the validation that we didn't choose right. Why heal it when humans take and take? Not all humans take and take, honey. But we have to, and we'll talk about that because that's all tied into becoming self-partnered within ourselves, and understanding that you can help heal without giving everything over. You can help heal without giving everything of yourself and becoming separated from the person and taking care of yourself. So, my point though is that, they go out and they find all these different things, right? They find all these different people. They feed, and they come back. And baby, they come back and it's horrible for us as the main supply. But they're not going to let their main supply go because there's whatever sense of security within us. They always got to have a main supply. They always got to have that main supply because some other peripheral ones could come and go. That main one know that they've really put that time into, that they've groomed, that they can completely control. See, now we're all completely intertwined and it's completely codependent. It's completely symbiotic. It's completely parasitic. That's the word I was looking for. Parasitic. These are the ties that bind. And until and unless we can begin that process of raising our self-esteem, of going back and healing the trauma, and even if there wasn't as severe of trauma as some of us have experienced, but go back and say, you know what? Yes, childhood was great, but I didn't get this from my parents. And it's okay to say I didn't get it that you didn't get it. It's okay to say you didn't get a certain thing from your parents because your parents did the best they could with what they knew at the time. No, and you shouldn't. You should never walk on eggshells. I'm going to tell you something, Deanna. I'm going to briefly I'll touch on that in a minute. The loving unconditionally. As we begin to love ourselves, right, until we can do that, until we begin to love ourselves, until we can begin to do all of that, then when we start doing that and building ourselves up, then we learn Then we can learn the tools to separate. Then we can learn the tools to start cutting these ties. And pretty soon we are no longer a narcissist snack. We're no longer a supply. When we heal and become self-partnered, the ties that bind us together are the exact wounds that we talked about yesterday. The whys. Today is the what. I will tell you in my working, especially now with what I know about chakras and the chakra system and energy healing. Hey, Shonda. Hi, Shonda Rise. With what I know now, I can tell you just about every woman that I have worked with since I started this channel, their throat chakra has been, basically, they were told as children. Nope. You have nothing to say. Children are seen, not heard. Your needs are not important. You know what I'm saying? Even if it was basically a good relationship, a good home, I can guarantee you, throat chakra, blocked. Heart chakra is this big because we're so used to giving. Your heart chakra is so full and you're just giving. Your power chakra, your solar plexus, typically, and most women or men that I work with energetically for energetic healing, power chakra, dead. It's not revving because you feel like you have no power. Thank you. Thank you, Shonda. Your power chakra ain't happening. Your sacral chakra fractured because you didn't feel safe, especially if there was sexual abuse and or emotional, mental, any physical, any type of abuse of home. Your sacral chakra gone because you were not protected. You were not, not gone. Of course, it's not gone, but you know what I mean? Completely fractured. Your sacral chakra needs to get put back together because you need to feel safe. And your root chakra is underdeveloped. Why? Because we had no foundation to build ourselves upon. We have no idea how to be rooted and grounded. We had no true foundation. And when you have no true foundation to build yourself up from, it's like building, what does the Bible say? It's like building on sand, on quicksand. It's fleeting. So when you got no roots, you got nothing going on, and enter the narc, no wonder we end up getting fully intertwined. But you were made to feel that way. Yeah, you don't even have to say it. Like, it doesn't have to be physically said. In my household, we were told children were seen and not heard. You know what I'm saying? Like, we went to somebody's house, even our grandmother's house. Honey, you better get in there and sit down like three little mice. 1, 2, 3. Sit down. You didn't say a word. You asked to go to the bathroom. You didn't just get up. And if you were giggling with each other, you better do it quietly because children were to be seen and not heard. You know, it's a miracle that, I came to the place that I did. But, but God always, God is faithful. God is faithful. And while we may not understand, so I'm going to go back here, guys. Again, the ties that bind us in these relationships. If we can understand why, what is missing in us, why we're not at perfect peace, nothing missing, nothing broken. We can understand the why, then we can identify the what. We can identify the what, right? My grandma could throw a shoe, child. But anyway, we can identify the what, and that's what we're doing today. We're identifying the what ties us into these relationships. Because until you can identify the what, you will do one of two things. You will continue to choose poorly. You will always be attracted to this type of person. It might not be as bad as the original person that you got in a relationship with, but it will be a version thereof. In some way, shape, form, or fashion, they will not respect you. And by the way, before I forget, I want to acknowledge Shonda's channel, Astrology Extraordinaire. So please check her videos out. I mean, the information you get if you ever want to know anything about astrology, go to her channel, because it's not, it ain't just milk either. You're gonna get some meat. But you will continually choose the wrong person. You will continually choose the wrong friends. You will continue to let people walk all over you. You'll continue to be a people pleaser until you begin to identify the wounds, and then, as we're going to talk about tomorrow, heal them. You will do that. Or if you're in a good relationship or a relationship with potential, you'll kill it because you can't handle it. Relationships, beloved, are 100-100. If you're coming to a relationship like a broken, fractured piece of china, if you're coming to a fancy dinner and you're a piece of china that's been broken and re-glued back together and you're still missing some chips here and there, you ain't gonna be able to be on that table. You can't be on that table. I'm not gonna put you out on my place setting and you're fractured and glued together and you got pieces, chunks missing out the middle. You're no good to yourself. You're not good. You're not, it's not that you're no good to yourself. You haven't healed enough to be able to be at the grand dinner. So you'll mess up the good thing you have when you don't get healed. Yes. Honey, that's not late. 32 ain't late. Let me tell you something. 32 ain't late. It's never too late. Never too late. The key is to recognize it. And the key is to say, I am. I deserve. I am. I am lovable. I love myself. Y'all, I told you, I don't know if I told you guys that, but I told somebody recently. It took me a while before I honestly believed it. I would tell myself I loved myself with all my faults and all my whatever, all of me. It took me so long before I actually believed it. But once you really, truly believe it, let me tell you something, can't nobody take it away from you. I'm going to catch this up. Yeah, Raina, that probably with your father, that thing with your father being how he is went back way generations, way before him. Yep. Strong enough to stand up for myself. Is it still possible? Yeah, Miss Townsend, I know. That was their way of being in control. And I'm going to tell you something, guys. Being a parent, we do the best that we can with the tools that we have. But a lot of us didn't have good tools to start off with. I had a bunch of broken hammers. Let me tell you something. No screwdrivers. I didn't, So as the healing process, and we'll chat about this tomorrow night, the healing process is we learn to forgive and move and forgive ourselves and forgive them. But we'll go forward in that. Is it still possible to choose the wrong person in a relationship, even if you had good parents? Yes, it is. Because even good parents, sometimes they may or may not recognize that we have self-esteem issues. Children can be extremely cruel, and teenagers even worse. So there's so many things. Even when you have good parents, it can still happen, of course. You can choose the wrong person, honey. And you can choose the wrong person if you're too naive to see that it's the wrong person. You think everybody's good. Everybody ain't good. You move forward, but came back near family. Hello, Shantae. How are you, dear? Yeah, this can happen. Even if you, again, I don't know if y'all saw the docuseries, but there was at least one or two of those young ladies that had very good homes. But here was somebody, they had good homes. But here you have somebody that's now coming along and paying them some attention. He's a star, so it could be somebody that's a lawyer, a doctor, a this or that, that's got some title that comes along, and you're thinking, oh my goodness, why is he like talking to me? He's got all this money, and he's got all of this, and he's got all of that, right? Driving that nice car, wearing them nice clothes, smell good. You know what I'm talking about, y'all. Don't act like y'all don't know, because y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. And, he comes along, and you might not even recognize that you have some self-esteem issues. And certainly your parents didn't. They didn't mean to miss it, but they did. And they start talking sweet in your ear, honey. Especially if you're young. I love you. Child, bye. Is we did it, yep. We're in our journey. But yes, exactly. That is. I never want to leave you all in a bad way. You know what, though, Raina? I'm going to tell you something, and we'll talk about that. We'll talk a little bit more again about it tomorrow. You can get into forgiveness. You can forgive someone and get closure no matter if they're alive or they're not. If you ever speak to them or you don't. Because forgiveness, remember, beloveds, is not about them. It's about you. Forgiveness is all about you. It's for you. It's not for them. I go back to the Bible. The Bible says if you have unforgiveness in your heart, your prayers are not answered. And I wondered a lot about that because all the time sounded very petty to me. Well, God, why wouldn't you answer I didn't do anything wrong. Why wouldn't you answer my prayers? See, it's not just what it says. The reason why your prayers can't get answered, the reason why you can't manifest the things that you want to, is because due to unforgiveness, you do not have the capability of having the positive, higher vibrational, if you will, higher frequency, emotional state in order to manifest the good thing. So it's not that your prayers won't be answered, is you do not have the capability when you walk in unforgiveness. Hello, Tawanda. If you walk in unforgiveness, you do not have the capability to manifest the good thing because there's too much hatred. There's too much hurt. There's too much pain. So it's not that God won't answer you, babies. It's that you can't resonate. You can't emote at the level that is necessary to bring that good thing to you. Your magnet will not allow you to draw it in. You cannot attract it. That's why you can't, thank you. That's why you can't attract true love in an unhealed state. Because your magnet can't draw it in. Your magnet can't bring it to you because you're not at the right polarization. So you can sit here, y'all, I'm going in a whole different direction than I meant to tonight. I want you to hear me though, y'all. You can sit here and say, I'm out of this relationship or whatever. I'm over it. I'm going to find me a good man. I'm going to find me a good woman. You will never find you a good man, a good woman. You will never find true love until you heal, because you are not ready to be the partner that person deserves. Your magnet, your love magnet ain't strong enough, boo. Your love magnet ain't strong enough, boo. Y'all ever play with magnets as children? Or watch your children play with magnets? You know, you could have a small magnet. We used to have these things, these toys that had little slivers of metal underneath. I want to say it was glass or something. And you could move the magnets around and make all different designs, right? So if you had your little magnet here and you had another little magnet over there, oh, I got double-sided. So I'm going to put this like this. Here we're going to I got a double-sided chalkboard, y'all. Y'all don't laugh at my little drawings now, because you know I'm not an artiste. I'm a scientist and an energy healer. I'm not an artist. Okay, looky here, looky here, looky here. So I got these 3 little magnets, right? But they can only attract the pieces that are right here around them. They're not strong enough to attract these pieces. They can't bring them to them. Why? Because the magnet ain't strong enough. Y'all don't laugh. Don't judge me. The magnet ain't strong enough. Your magnet ain't strong enough, boo. So you will go, and an unhealed person, even if you get out of this relationship, I'm going to tell you something. You will go from relationship to relationship. Either you'll attract the wrong one on the real all the time, or you'll hurt the next person. And you'll hurt them bad. Because you're unhealed and you won't mean to do so. But now you've wrapped somebody else up in your own mess, baby. Don't bring nobody else into your mess. Hello, Lady Rose. You don't always get what you deserve. Well, I don't believe that. Magic, the universe removes the trash. That is so the trash. That's true. The more you heal and the more you become whole, the less the riffraff. I mean, it's just... I could not attract a darn narcissist if I wanted to. They might be attracted to me because they're like, ooh, she has all of this wonderful energy. But baby, they gonna run. Because I'm like, ain't nothing coming, ain't nothing giving out here, baby. Ain't nothing giving out right here. We're going to work on that forgiveness stuff. Each relationship brings the same energy. You get what you put out. You know, I sometimes I go back to a previous life, Miss Shonda. You want love, be loved. You want healed, be healed. Yep. Yep. So this is why it's so important for us to do this process. And I know, y'all, I'm not going to be on here much longer because I wanted this in 3 parts for a specific reason. The why, the what, and now let's do the how. How do we get out of it? How do we get out of it? How do we heal? It's line upon line, precept upon precept. Right? Line upon line, layer upon layer. You pull this, you pull that. You pull this, you pull that. It's a little layer at a time. Healing doesn't happen all at once. Healing doesn't, just like when you get a fever. I know I'm coming out with all the old woman stuff. When you get up with the mother stuff, some of us remember the mothers in the church. Or grandma and them, what they used to tell us. You get a fever, it takes you just as long to get rid of that fever as if you goes untreated. So if you've had a fever for 3 days, it's going to take you 3 days to get rid of that fever, maybe 4. You put on weight. I would love to have lost all the weight that I wanted to by now. But baby, it didn't all get on here overnight. It ain't coming off overnight. Okay? We didn't get in this state overnight. Healing is a process. And we have to be patient with ourselves in the process. But we also have to make sure we do not continually re-injure ourselves during the healing process. Because that's the other thing that we do. Thank you. Oh, I'm happy with every inch. And if you ain't happy with every inch, miss me. Love me how I am or don't love me at all. It ain't gonna hurt me either way it go. I don't care. Time heals, Shantae. And you got to put in the work. You got to put in the work even when you don't want to put in the work. It's not just time. Because we can shorten that time. We could shorten the time for the deep healing. We could shorten that up. We put in the work. We could shorten that time up, baby. But as you saw tonight, like when I was talking about what happened with, the ex, I was doing this. But I arrested that thought right then and there. It is always, yes, it's a journey. We're human. We're human. But you can dig up those roots. It doesn't have to take you forever. It's all about how bad you want it. And how much you're willing to be real with yourself. So you have a choice. Do you want to walk around unhealed and hurt all the time? Do you want to walk around always being the victim, basically? Do you want to walk around and end up actually becoming a victimizer? Because you unhealed? You want to go around here ruining other people's lives? And I mean, this is harsh, but this is true. Do you want to go around hurting other people and taking other people down with you? Collateral damage everywhere. I've seen too many cases where there's collateral damage. I mean, bodies everywhere. Carnage. Because an unhealed person was going around not intentionally, but we do it inadvertently because we're doing it out of an unhealed space. And we're doing it because we so desperately want someone to love us. And we so desperately want someone to fill that void. And we so desperately want someone to tell us we're beautiful, we're intelligent, we're worthy. When we haven't even told ourselves. And if we have, we don't really believe it. Oh, definitely there's such a thing as a healthy relationship. Most definitely there is. Most definitely there is. You have to start with yourself. Yes, Miss Sophie. There is definitely a healthy relationship. Oh, definitely. And it's possible. This isn't all doom and gloom. See you, Miss Shonda. Thank you, honey. Thank you for supporting. Thank you. There's definitely healthy relationships. Definitely. I've seen many. I've seen many. But you just have to be willing to do your work first. Then you can get everything else. Okay, guys, I'm a little bit over time. So we're going to let you go. Thank you so very much for being with us tonight. Please do like and subscribe if this is your first time here. Thank you so much for being here. Please consider liking and subscribing and sharing this video. Tomorrow morning starts our 7-day meditation challenge. 6:30 in the morning Central, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. Meet me right here. We are going to, and I'll start up right about 6:32 or so. 6:32, 6:33. Let people, the notifications go out. If you subscribe, oh, you're so welcome. I love you guys. If you've already subscribed, be sure you hit that bell so that you get all the notifications. We're going to be here together in the morning, and we are going to be together and just meditate for about 10, maybe 15 minutes, guys. That's part of my discipline week. Thank you so much. If you can't join us live, the video will be up. Okay, so you can meditate at your own time. But please do 6:30 a.m. Central. Yes, ma'am. We're going to start our day off. And so if you can't be with us in the morning, like Miss Sophie, you'll already be at work. You'll already be doing your thing. Then please join us, or please watch the replay later. But we're going to get in the habit of meditation, the discipline of meditation, and starting our days off listening to spirit, okay? There's also, if you would go to my website, click on the 7-day meditation challenge, sign up, let me know you're doing it. It's, of course, completely free. But, good night, Lady Rose. But what that'll also do is then I'm going to be sending out some special newsletters just for those that are joining in on the challenge, okay? And some special guidance and meditation and so on and so forth for healing. So we're going to be concentrating on our heart chakra, okay? That's what we're going to be concentrating on, all right? What have we got here? You tuning in at 7:30 a.m. All right, awesome. And also, if you have not yet done so, please check out the promo video and or the website for the spiritual conference that is happening March 8th through the 10th right here in Madison, Wisconsin. It's going to be a great time. So check it out. And also, if you wish to work with me, go to the website, check out the description below. There's different ways to work with me through energy healing, spiritual coaching, and so on. All right, guys, I'm going to let you guys go. Thank you so much for hanging with me. I so appreciate it. Peace, love, blessings, and joy be unto you today, tomorrow, and for all eternity. You guys tune in tomorrow, same bat time, same bat channel, and we're going to round this out. We're going to talk about healing, and then we're going to schedule a live discussion where we're going to tie it all together. And guys, we're going to help each other heal, okay? Peace, love, blessings, joy be unto you today, tomorrow, and for all eternity. I love each and every one of you. Please, I'll see you in the morning, and let your friends and their neighbors and anybody else know we're going to be meditating tomorrow morning, y'all. I love you. Namaste. Bye, guys.